Bit of a chilly one. Just dropped the kids off, going to the track. Got a little car wash. Going over to the track, get some work done. It's been a good week. I told everybody at the start of the week, I said, hey, the open house is coming. And I think we need to get all the horses to start focusing on their work. I said, now, we showed them their work. They've all seemed to got it. A couple of them are still making mistakes, but we need to focus on just polishing up those rough edges. And a couple of the ones that were just a little fractious and acting up, I went with them this week and kind of stretched them out a little bit, made sure they understood it's work week. They were all pretty conducive to that. There were no renegades, no horses being bad. There were still some horses trying to get it. I know I get emails from people all the time saying, Anthony, you said, Captain Incredible isn't pacing great yet, or how is Pelican Al doing, or hey, how is Grand Old Chap, did he trot yet? I get these all the time, and I feel bad because it's hard for me to articulate to people, hey, just relax. It's a long time between now and June, and these horses will get it. It's just sometimes that mental block, right? It's there, it's real, and it's like doing homework with my kids. My daughter, as they start doing these different math equations, it gets frustrating sometimes to them, and you just have to keep, repetition and practice, and I get it. So, for those of you out there that hear me say, oh, this horse didn't get it or that horse didn't get it, just relax. It's not a big deal. They'll all get it. And if you go back and watch our videos from last year, the year before that, there's plenty that didn't get it. Think of all the horses that made breaks the entire time they were training down, still come out, were very, very good horses. So take it all with a grain of salt, right? It really means nothing. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. If there's anything too concerning, I'll be sure to let everybody know, but there isn't at this point. Right now, we're just trying to get them to focus and do their work right. So that's what we're doing all week. Just so many changes going on right now. I had a great call with James yesterday. We're trying to figure out who we're going to breed the mares to. We thought we had a horse named French Wine that was standing in Ohio. We were going to breed 3 or 4 of our mares to, and then it turned out his semen wasn't that good, right? You see this from time to time. This is my first real look at it because I never heard the rumblings from the breeding world before, because it just wasn't my scene. And it wasn't my scene, and it hasn't been until now, where we have a number of brood mares, right? We have 10 right now. And we had 4 of them going to French Wine, and then we got an email saying, his semen count is low and we're not going to stand him this year. Oh my God. So now we're scrambling around trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I know that James had breeding to Tactical Landing, which is highly sought after. He had a share. He bought a share at Harrisburg. And I had asked him if he wanted to use it. Steve had a mare that Park Slope that we're racing right now is being bred in February. I've actually been trying to buy into the horse with Steve because I love that family. That's Kings County's family. So I just thought it was such a good deal. I don't really care about the racehorse side. We're probably going to race her till January and then shut her down and start getting her prepped to breed. But where are we going to go? So that's not my avenue, right? That's Steve and Alan Swain and a number of our clients and former clients and hopefully future clients that I rely on to give me this information. That is a portion of the industry. It's one of those things where you have to know what you're talking about, and you can't guess. You can't, there's algorithms for it, and there's sites that you can go on. It's not my cup of tea. I leave that up to people that I would consider experts, and I don't plan on being one. So, Tactical Landing is the one that Steve said was the leading one. Expensive breeding, but I happen to know somebody that has one. So I was on the phone with James, and we're talking about, he's trying to squeeze as much out of me as he can, and I'm trying to squeeze as much out of him as I can. And and we just started talking about how the horses raced last week. He was happy with everybody. All gas, no brakes comes up, and he said, geez, Anthony, somebody might claim that horse. And I said, Mark, James, who cares? We gave virtually nothing for him. He's done nothing but good. Where's he going to go? That's his class. He goes, well, they could just put him in for 60. Okay. He loses his allowance in 3 weeks. What do you want me to say? They have to put him in for 60 in 3 weeks. He's in the perfect position. The perfect position. So just feel free just to go out and win every week with them. That'd be awesome if you could. And if they want to claim them, that's okay, because we're in a pretty good situation where just off the periphery of that class are 4 horses that can win that class, right? We have Lindy's Landing. We have Walter's Keepsake. We have Crantini, who we'll talk about in a minute. And then, obviously, we have Unbeatable Kemp, who's coming back around. He goes, wow, Kemp. I said, James, of all the 5 horses, including all gas, no brakes, when Unbeatable Kemp is sound and on his game, he is the best of the 5. Well, there's no 2 ways about that. Now, let's not be silly here. And he goes, yeah, well, is he sound? I said, yeah, he's really sound right now. He jogged. He's coming off 2 wins, so he's brimming with confidence. He's brimming with confidence. He looks great. Horse is he's in a great spot right now. If he wins today, I can put him. I'm sure there's an optional 20 there, like at the Meadows. You know, non-winners of something, also eligible something, also eligible something, also eligible 20 claimer. I'm assuming there's a class like that. Every track has one. So if they don't, Northfield will, or Dayton will. Someone will. He's in a good spot also. And he said, wow, yeah, whatever. And we talked about the other horses, and he said, we talked about Crantini.
I'm a new guy.
Don't worry about it, my friend. There you go, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
So we talked about Crantini. He goes, I can't believe you bought that horse back. And I said, well, James, here's the thing, and this is for everybody too, because this wasn't just a one-side trade. Divine's at one last night, and good for them. But that filly's now getting up into Lindy's Landings class, right? Up in, it's gonna be tough for her to do up in there. Does she have the speed? Maybe, but it's gonna be tough for her to do up in there. Whereas our other horses can, and Smoking on Irish Girl, same thing. She was now getting up to where Coup Deville is, and unfortunately, and everybody, I want everybody to remember this, because this can happen in horse racing. It does, it will, and it will not be the last time. Coup Deville was never a sore horse, ever. Vet bills were always low, never really had any serious issues. We raced her last week, and she broke down. Tore suspensory. Right high. Now, we were planning on breeding her. I was trying to sell her as a broodmare anyway. I thought that she would race till Christmas time. We'd get her. She'd win her next start here. I'm like, oh, she's 3rd. That's okay. She'll win her next start here probably. She'll eventually win this start. And then we'll have to go to Dayton or the Meadows with her. Who cares? We're having fun. And then she broke down. And it expedited her path into the broodmare ranks, but it didn't... it's a wake-up call for everybody. All these times where, we've sold Per Lucky yesterday. It was just time. We've had them a long time. We can replace these horses. But, when the right deal comes up at the right time, I know everybody says, I just don't want to part with the horse. I get these all. Went on with Renegade Gypsy, and it went on one email for sure from Per Lucky. Can I stay involved? And I really don't want to sell this horse. But you guys have to understand there's a right time for everything. What's up?
What time do you have to leave today?
10:45, 11?
She's not here yet. That horse got put on Lazax kind of recently. You want to train tomorrow? We can get the Lazax.
Well, it's gonna be pouring rain tomorrow, I think, though.
Tomorrow too?
I think so. Ask her if they can use Robanol or something.
Okay.
We'll scope them after. We're not racing them till next weekend anyway. And I'm not going to empty them right out. I just want to go a mile 57 with them or something.
Okay.
All right. So now you guys got a look at what goes on. Jason had come up and said Texan Soprano is a Lazax horse. But when you give Lazax, you got to give them 2-3 hours, right? It's a 4-hour window at the track, but you should give them a good 2-3 hours. That's why he was asking me when I had to leave. And I told him, just ask the veterinarian. Sometimes they can use another... they used to be able to use... I forget the name of the product. This is all above the board and legal. The vet can come in and treat the horse with a different medication that the withdrawal time is out of their system. I think it's like 48 hours, and he's not racing till next weekend. Now, it's not the same as Lazax, but it doesn't have the same side effects. Anyway, I just said, don't worry about him bleeding. I know he's a Lazax horse, but if we can treat him with Robanol, I'm sure if Dr. Latessa's here, he can work it out with Dr. Latessa, but I'm only going to train him in 56, 57, which sounds like a lot, but for a good horse like him, and he felt really good yesterday, for a good horse like him, I don't see there being any problem. Most of the time, Lasix is for those hot horses, and they just blast out of there, and you got to fight with them, and you just get wound up. It's most of the time, Lasix is for horses that are hot, right? Fractious, as I just said. The Texan horse seems as cool as a cucumber, and I know his newest owner, Scotty, had called me a couple of times saying, "What do you think of him?" I say, "Nice horse, right?" He does his work well. So for those of you that maybe didn't know this, Scott Zeron is an owner on Texan Soprano also. I was a little surprised. We were just talking about the horse, and he had said out of the blue that he would get involved in that horse, which kind of caught me off guard. But it's so nice to have, and this is what I'd said to you in another video about this last week, is that it's nice to have people that are quality people in this industry that want to be involved with us. That says a lot about us. It says a lot about you. It says a lot about the stable. That people like Scotty, here's a guy at the top of the industry that wants to be involved with us. So that's a feather in our cap. But again, it goes back to what my grandfather always told me, and I tell our kids all the time also, you're only as good as the people you hang around with, right? You hire good quality people, you work with good quality people, and do the best you can and work hard, and hopefully, more times than not always, but more times than not, good things happen. And it is nice to have, whether it be my brother James involved in one way or another, or my brother Mark involved, or Scotty, or any of those other people, even the guys around here. People asked me last night, where were you with Halakai? How come you didn't? It's not none of my business, but it's not like you not to come to the races at night. You're right. I wish I was here for Halakai last night. She did. She was off 2 weeks, and not really her type. You got to save her a little bit. And that's not Kurt's fault. I did the same thing the first time I drove her. Remember, I cut her loose down the backstretch, and she shriveled up in the last turn. I get picked off. You just got to save with her, and she didn't race bad, and he didn't drive her bad. He drove her right. He just not perfect for her trip. There's not a big deal though. But I wasn't here because I know everyone everywhere, right? There's very few places I could go in horse racing where I don't know someone, and I've come to know a lot of people here, and Ronnie Wren and Hunter Myers and Chris Lems and Amy Holler and Buck, and all their wives and everybody were going out last night to have like a Christmas party type thing, a little function. And they'd asked Amy and I if we'd go, and my first inclination was to be a little hesitant, but then I'm like, geez, you gotta. I don't have a lot of hair, but you gotta let it down sometimes. So I went out last night. It was a lot of fun. Really cool hanging out with those guys. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, it's good to have all these people involved. And when it comes to Texan Soprano, in about another hour, I'm probably going to train him around 57 here at Northfield, and we'll have him ready for next week. Is he going to race in the Nommers at 10 here? Is he going to race in the Nommers at 10 at the Meadows or in Dayton? One of those three, I would imagine. He'll race in, and then we'll go from there. I'd said this from the outset. My initial goal would be to get him to Yonkers. He's built for Yonkers. After talking to his owner, I believe that is where he should be. So that is where he will be. I would imagine at some point. But Yonkers closes on the 20th of December for 4 weeks, so there's no point sending him down there. Scotty was the one that brought it up. He said, once Yonkers closes, now all those other tracks are closed in the area. Everybody's going to be at the Meadowlands. Do you really want to go to the Meadowlands? He said, I'm not even certain. Do you think he needs a rest? And I said, well, I'm going to tell you what I tell all the rest of our owners. He'll tell us if he needs a rest. What I would like to do is race him straight up through till April almost, like we did with our other horses, and then give them the latter part of the summer off, because that 4-year-old transition is very, very hard. And I would rather start tackling horses in the fall, the early fall, late summer of next year into the winter. So that's the plan with Texan Soprano, but we'll get that underway today as we train him. So circling back, yesterday we talked about Coup Deville. She got injured last week, as I said. Little cautionary note to everybody out there. You guys know this can happen, but it can, and it has, and it will again in the future. So that is always in the back of my mind. But Coup always at home. Jacob Schaefer has offered to buy Coup Deville. They were going to breed her to French Wine. So I don't know who Jacob is going to now. But I can tell you one thing, as I said to Jacob, I would be extremely interested in her foals. It's a filly I got a lot of respect for. There's a filly that injured herself pretty serious way, and come in the next day like Enzo. And luckily enough, I didn't even tell any of my partners. Enzo did not tear a suspensory. It looks like he hit that, and it got a little infection in there. I was certain it was a suspensory, and Enzo, hobbled around for a few days like it was a gunshot wound, like he was seriously hurt, and it really didn't look that bad. But I'm not saying it wasn't sore, but as it turns out, it wasn't that bad. Then you got Coup Deville, who injured herself considerably. Just come in, ate her hay, ate all her feed at night, get up the next day, had her head over the gate looking to either have somebody pet her head or bite someone. One or the other. That's just the way she is. Just the toughest, iron tough horse I've seen in a while is that filly. And I can't wait, because I will be very, very interested. One, I hope Jacob, says, breeds her to somebody favorable, gives her a chance, because that filly deserves a chance to be a good broodmare. If we didn't have so many broodmares, I certainly would be lobbying to keep her. All the horses, I keep telling you guys, trainers want to see that toughness, right? And I don't know how you get it. Is it just a coin flip? Do they have it or do they not have it? Some horses do. Where does it come from? I want to believe that some of it has to come from the mare also. So many traits do to begin with. And that's the horses that I wanted to breed. Maybe not the best horses. They have some breeding, but they were tough, and they wanted to be better than they actually were. Horse like Muscle Chrome. Unfortunately, God did not gift her with a lot of cylinders in her engine. She made a nice colt, though, I can tell you that. She always tried. She always wanted to be a better horse. She just didn't have the ability to be a better horse. I like that. It's a good quality to have, that Rudy mentality. And I'm going to tell you one thing. Coup Deville, she was the ultimate Rudy, I can tell you that. So, we talked about Coup. We talked about... for just a second. For all the owners of Coup also, can you email Wendy just to let her know if you want to sell those shares? Jacob Schaefer has kindly allowed anybody that wants to stay involved in the breeding operation with Coup Deville, you're welcome to. You're welcome to. He will make it work. For everybody else, you're gonna have to need to message Wendy and let her know that you would like to sell your shares of Coup Deville to the Schaefers. So that's the scoop on that. Yesterday, what else went on? I'll talk about Crantini last, because there's a lot to talk about there. I don't have a lot of time. The qualifiers, yes, I had an email this morning from one of my partners with Rito's Lady saying, Anthony, can you do a video of Rito's Lady? We never really get an update of her. Well, I didn't have any updates to give. I was told she trained down good. Looks like she qualified okay. Her race at Flamborough was atrocious, to the point where I just said, draw the blood on the get papers drawn on the filly and get her over here. Now, I trained her in 212. I thought she was okay. The vet said, we could do some work, Anthony, but you're going to have to wait till after the qualifier because of the withdrawal times. Makes sense. I wasn't here. Jason, can you go with her? And she did not look great. She crossfired, hit her left front ankle and foot. So we got to make some changes there. I'd say a gating pole on the inside. Have the vet do the work on her. Maybe a lot of that loading weight and getting sore on one side comes from the front end. So I suspect maybe her feet bother her a little bit. If they do at all, how are we going to mitigate that? Can we do that with razor pads, or go to a flip-flop, or just a pin bar, something like that? I'll have that discussion with Jason, the blacksmith, and the vet today, because there's a number of horses, not a number, but a few we have to talk about. Top of the list is Rito's Lady. How do we get her squared away? And I know for my partners on the horse, you saw a terrible qualifier. She's close to being good and close to being bad. So let's get her on the right side of the fence and moving forward. And I do apologize that there hasn't been many updates, but when it comes to the horses from Ontario, if I'm being told, don't worry, everything is good, they're all good. What is this? It's Blanton's Blue. I just expect that they are. And if we run into hurdles, then I'll address those as they come up, as we're doing with Rito's Lady now. But I'm confident we can get her on the straight and narrow soon enough. Does that mean she qualifies next week? That will depend on what she looks like today, what the blacksmith says, what the vet says, and then what Jason and I formulate. Because the reality is I likely can't be here to qualify her next week either. So, where else do we go? Yesterday, I was happy with the two trotters. I know somebody said, Anthony, I don't mean to be a crybaby, but I don't think that What a Mission's supposed to be Kenobi. Is he? Well, it is a qualifier, and I know Jason Merriman called me immediately. He's like, Kenobi was great. Finished up with a big hold on him, earplugs in. He was good. Because I think he was worried that I was going to ask him the same thing. Listen, I know what a mission can do. What a mission's a tough little bugger. And the trajectory for those two horses is vastly different. What a mission fits non-winners of 4 up to 7, that claiming type, where Kenobi will likely go over to the Meadows. And yesterday was a good start for him. We didn't have to qualify him with hobbles on to go to Pennsylvania, but he did need a trip, and Jason was very happy with him. So he's tight now, ready to go. Same thing with Collector. Is going to school, not qualify. He's going to school on Friday. James and Harry will have a look under the hood there and see how he feels. I know he trained great here in 2 minutes the other day, so he should be ready to rock also. But this idea that, yes, he got away, he was being safe with Kenobi and got him in another zip code at the 3/8 pole, and who cares? It's a qualifier. Finished up his mile good, did well. I was happy with Kenobi. I was very, very happy to see What a Mission qualify well. So good job by those guys. Little disappointed by Rito's lady, but we'll work on her. Nothing's ever perfect. As I said, the babies went good yesterday. We're posting them up good. And then I want to talk quick about Halakai. She was good. Crantini. For my clients that somehow thought that my former partners on Crantini that somehow thought, well, he's racing terrible, he'll never be good again. Ye have little faith. Crantini's a lot of things. Frustrating, annoying, idiotic sometimes, but still fast. And although that wasn't a sparkling mile yesterday, he was good. He was good. He did his work good. And most importantly that I found with Crantini was still got it done, right? He wasn't awesome yesterday. The track was a little bit deep. He had that 9 weeks where he was fractious and making breaks and running away and doing... I had somebody from Southern Ohio tell me that he was dangerous. This was a dangerous horse. I said, well, hold on there, sir. As the person who bought him as a baby, broke him, trained him down, raced him at 2 and 3, I will say you're wrong. Because he is a lot of things, but dangerous isn't one of them. And I don't really know what is going on with him right now, but I can assure you he's not a dangerous horse. Well, I saw him in Dayton. I don't really care where you saw him, to be honest. Did you see him yesterday in Meadows? So he's a very strange duck. You just need to have him in a super, super structured way. And it wasn't that hard. We just put him back to the way he was, the exact same way he was. And he went out and did his work. Yes, he could have been an okay third yesterday, but he was a winner. And he worked hard right to the wire to do it. And, it's funny because he was on a program much like my youngest daughter, Adeline, is in preschool, right? They have those stars. If you're a good girl today, you get a star in your thing, and whoever gets the most stars, that's the type of thing. Where Crantini, if you don't make a break and don't act up and be stupid, I'll give you a star. And then after 5 stars, we'll let your hobbles out. And after 10 stars, we'll let your head down. And he got enough stars where by the time we had sold him, he didn't really need the screen. We were racing him in earplugs. He was behaved. And he never made a break, not one time in that stretch of the summer where we raced him, Tim and I. Not one time did he make a break. One time he raced bad when Mark drove him. He ended up scoping sick, but never ever made a break. So we just put him back to the way he was and raced him the same way yesterday, and he was good. Now he's back to 0 stars. So his head was up a little bit. His martingale was really tight. He did have an ear hood on with earplugs underneath, so we did keep him as quiet as we could. But he did get 1 star yesterday, so we'll keep moving forward with Crantini. The difference between Crantini and these other horses is the potential, right? What a Mission is going to race his way into the non-winners of 7 condition claimer at some point, and then we'll sell him. Much like we did a Sliver of Fashion and these other horses. But those other horses that come along the way, like Algas No Breaks, a perfect spot for him. That's a great class for him. But there's some horses, the gap between Unbeatable Kemp's class, where he has 1 win left, and it may come today, and a Texong Soprano is not as wide as you think. There's a lot of gray area there, and the jump over that void is tough. Really tough thing to do sometimes. And I think Crantini has the ability to make that jump if he decides to. Now, the reality is he's going to need a short break at some point. right? So we're going to race him right up till that 10-win mark. We're going to bring him back, and either he's going to be a straight claimer or he's going to be a mid-condition horse that floats up higher, right? And I want to see, I want to be able to race him, and we can race him wherever we want, but I want to race him in a class where he can go on the track and do good every week. Is that like an optional 20, 30, 40, 50? I don't know. He can go in that class. Eventually, they're going to be, if All Gas No Brakes continues to do well in there, they're eventually going to claim him. And if they do, that could be a spot where a horse like Crantini can move into quite easily also. So that's the plan for all the horses. That's what's gone on so far. I'm late now. I'm going to get yelled at by my wife. But I did want to bring everybody a video. I want to talk about the qualifiers yesterday, what was going on with those horses. Kenobi will be going to the Meadows. But What a Mission will be racing here next week. And Rito's Lady, rest assured, we'll get her squared away. There's nothing glaringly wrong with her that would prevent us from doing so. For the horses training, I'm going to train Texong Soprano this morning, see how he is, but I really like him. And the babies will continue to polish and go, polish and go, polish and go. So I'm happy with the way everything is going. Really happy to get out and just have a night off last night. It felt great. But right back to the work this morning and over to go with our boy Cake. So good luck to everybody today. All my partners on Cake and all the horses coming up. It should be a lot of fun the rest of the week. We do have, keep your eye out also. I do have my eye on 2 horses that are selling today on Gate. We may pick one of those up. So with that, I'll let you go. Have a wonderful day. It is Christmas season after all. Take care.